Hello, I'm Javier, and this is the Balance Druid Guide to Undermined 11.1.0 in the War Within. This is going to be very beginner friendly, but if you are used to Balance Druid, it's also still going to be really helpful. This is my UI. If you like it, you can get it on my Patreon. A lot of people ask for it, hence I offer it. I'm going to add some action bars on here. What we're going to be looking at is single target and then AoE, or Mythic Plus and raiding, you could say. Left being top priority, right being lowest priority. They have made it a lot easier to play Balance Druid this season. I'm really happy to see that for you guys out there who are beginners. For the stats, we pretty much want to go with, of course, intellect and a higher eye level. After that, we actually want to go with mastery. That's in more of a raiding sense. If you are in Mythic Plus, you can go with haste and then mastery, and in raiding, a mastery and then haste, but they're quite similar anyway. Haste obviously speeds everything up. Mastery, your nature spells deal increased damage if they're affected by sunfire, and your arcane spells deal increased damage if targets affected by moonfire. We will have both of those dots. Dots are damage over time spells. We will have both of those dots up at all times, so mastery is very good. And after that, you can go with crit and then versatility. So we're going to start off with a single target raiding build, and as I said, it's from left to right from top priority. Now, there's a really important passive that we need to think about as a Balance Druid. And that is this one here, Eclipse. Casting, if you don't know these spells, I'm going to explain them, so don't worry if you're a total beginner. Eclipse. Casting 2 Starfires empowers your Wrath for 15 seconds. Casting 2 Wraths empowers your Starfire for 15 seconds. So basically, we have 2 spells. I'm actually going to put them back on to make it even easier. So over here on the right, we have Wrath and we have Starfire. Wrath is a single target damaging spell. Hurl a ball of energy at the target, dealing damage. And it will generate some astral power. Starfire calls down a burst of energy, causing damage to the target and damage to nearby enemies. So Starfire is an area of effect. It's a multi-target spell, and Wrath is single target. If I use, and the way it works with Eclipse is it's a tale of opposites. So imagine you're eclipsing the sun with the moon, or you're eclipsing the moon with the sun. Wrath being sun, Starfire being moon. If I use 2 Wraths, so I use 2 single target spells, it empowers my Starfire. As you can see on the left here, I now have Eclipse Lunar. I've eclipsed the sun with the moon, or the opposite. Arcane spells deal more damage, basically. So again, doing 2 single target spells of Wrath will put me into a Lunar Eclipse. So 2 single target spells of Wrath empowers my AoE spells Starfire. So if you want to be doing AoE, and you're in Mythic Plus, for example, you want to do 2 Wraths and get into a Lunar Eclipse to empower your Starfire. If you're in single target, you want to do 2 Starfires to get a solar. You can see down here, look, nature spells damage is increased and Wrath's damage is increased by 40%. So you do 2 Starfires to get into your solar eclipse, which is really good for Wrath. So basically what we do, let's say I'm going to be doing single target, because we're looking at the raiding rotation here. I'm going to go into combat, I'm going to do 2 Starfires to get myself into a solar eclipse and empower Wrath. And you can see that Wrath is going to generate astral power. These both do, whichever way you go. That, I've got 120 of here, I'm capped out on astral power. Now, my solar eclipse in 3, 2, 1 is going to run out. Oh no, I need to do another 2 Starfires to empower my Wrath again. If you were doing AoE, you do 2 Wraths to go into Starfire, and that is basically how your eclipse works. So once you get used to how that works with the opposites, it gets quite simple. So now let's go over the rotation in single target. This is the raiding build. The first thing you want to do is do Moonfire and Sunfire and keep them up at all times on your target. These are both dots or damage over time spells. As you can see here, you want to keep these up at all times on your targets. You can see with Moonfire and Sunfire, they both generate astral power. And you never want to cap on your astral power. I've got 120 of it here, I'm capped on astral power. We're going to look how to spend that in just a second. Once you've got your dots up, and remember, keep them up at all times, we're going to do 2 Starfires to get into our solar eclipse and empower our Wrath. We're then going to use our Force of Nature, target it, summons a stand of free treants, which immediately taunt and attack enemies in the target area. This will also generate 20 astral power. Again, make sure not to overcap it. You've got your treants there attacking your target. We can then use our other cooldowns, Celestial Alignment, maintaining both eclipses and granting 10% haste. So even when you go into combat, you can get into your eclipse with a Starfire and then later on do your Celestial Alignment. I always do my first one with Celestial Alignment. It gives you 10% haste and gives you both eclipses, meaning both will be empowered. Then you can do Convoke the Spirits, which just does a hell of a load of spells all at once. And then once you're maxed on astral power, which you likely will be at this point, we use Star Surge, and that is how we're spending our astral power. So just to recap, Moonfire, Sunfire, get your dots up, get your treants out, Celestial Alignment, Convoke, spend your astral power. We don't want to be capping out on astral power. You're spending it with Star Surge, and then we're using Wrath as our filler. We've got nothing else to press until we come out of our solar eclipse. Now that we're out of our solar eclipse, use 2 Starfires to go back into it, making sure we're keeping those dots up, spending astral power that we're overcapping on with Star Surge, and then spamming our Wrath as our filler in our eclipse, keeping up those dots and spamming Wrath, not capping on astral, using my Force of Nature, and I'm back out of my solar eclipse. So 2 Starfires to get back into it, making sure I'm keeping up my Sunfire and Moonfire, spending any Star Surges to make sure I'm not capping on astral power, and then using any filler with Wrath until I come back out of my solar eclipse. And that is basically the rotation for single target. You can see once you get into the rhythm of it, it's actually quite simple and straightforward. Now let's have a look at the talents and just see how it all comes together. In single target, we are going with Keeper of the Grove. Force of Nature, this is the one that summons your treants. Grants 3 charges of Dream Burst, causing your next Wrath or Starfire to explode, doing damage, etc. And it's basically empowering your treants, etc. You can see here, each of your Force of Nature treants increases your damage of your spells, and the rest of them, which I'll let you look through on your own, basically help with your treants and bits and bobs. Eclipse, obviously the most important talent we've already been through. Shooting Stars, a lot of these are passive, but it's good to know. Moonfire and Sunfire damage has a chance to call down a shooting star, or a falling star, dealing damage and generating some astral power. During the first 6 seconds of every eclipse, shooting stars fall a lot more often. Sunseeker Mushroom, Sunfire damage has a chance to grow a magical mushroom. It can then detonate, dealing damage. And after that, your affected targets are slowed. It generates up to 20 astral power based on how many targets are hit. There's a lot of passive astral power being generated here, so make sure you're being careful not to overcap on it. This one's really interesting. Orbit Breaker. Every 30 of Shooting Star calls down a full moon at 60% effectiveness upon its target. So what is a full moon? Well, it's basically an attack that you can go into. In this one here, which we haven't chosen, it's like full moon, a new moon and half moon, and it's basically an attack you can use. This is going to happen passively through Orbit Breaker. Denizen of the Dream, you're going to summon some little fairy dragons. If you see those, that's why. We've spoken already about the Celestial Alignment cooldown, giving you haste and getting both eclipses, meaning, woohoo, you don't even have to worry about eclipses for 12 seconds. We also get Whirling Stars, where your alignment's cooldown is reduced, and it has 2 charges, but duration is reduced a bit. Umbral Embrace, Wrath and Starfire have a 20% chance to cause your next Wrath or Starfire cast during an eclipse to become astral, deal more damage. Consuming that then increases the damage of your Moonfire, Sunfire, Shooting Stars, etc. Again, all passive, but just good to know. As well as Fairy Dragons, you will also sometimes summon the Spirit Wolf Galdrin, which will immediately again do damage to your target. One really important talent is Star-Lord. Star Surge, and in AoE and Mythic Plus, Starfall, so Star Surge in single target, will grant you 4% haste for 15 seconds. This is really important. It stacks up to 3 times, but gaining a stack does not refresh the duration. So remember I said that you want, or you don't want, to cap out on your astral power, right? So see here, I'm about to cap out. So when I use my Star Surge, I get this buff down here, Star-Lord. Haste is increased by 4%. And as you can see, it's going 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, right? When I use Star Surge again, I get a second stack, but I've only then got 3 seconds left of it. And then if it runs out and I use my Star Surge again and again, you can see I've not got any more astral power. I've only got 2 stacks of Star-Lord, meaning my haste is increased by 8%. And so basically, if you let it kind of run out a lot, and you've only got like 2 seconds of it, and then you use the Star Surge and you've run out, and you've got 3 stacks of Star-Lord, great, but only for 1 second. Meaning, what you really want to do is, even I'm saying don't ever cap out on Astral Power, try and use it when it's nearly full, because then you can go 1, 2, 3 Star Surges all in a row, and you've got 3 stacks of Star-Lord for as long as possible for 12% haste. Meaning you can really maximize the duration on that, because again, if it's about to run out and I use it again, it doesn't refresh the duration and you've basically wasted it. So making sure that you can use 3 Star Surges in tandem to get the maximum duration on your Star-Lord with maximum stacks, which is free for 12% haste, is really going to benefit you. Hopefully that isn't confusing the way I've just explained that, but it is quite important that you do it in that way to maximize your DPS. And that is pretty much it for single target. Let's now go into the Mythic Plus build. Very similar, we're just changing a few little things. So when I change over to the talents here, you can see we're changing to Elun's Chosen, and a lot of talents over here are actually changing around. Wouldn't worry too much, there's not really too much we're actually changing. So Elun's Chosen, your Fury of Elun, which is the cooldown we've chosen down here, now ends with a flash of enemy blasting enemies. And basically, there's just an insane amount of lunar damage going on in here. Luna, 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 Moon, Moon, Moon. Lovely, lovely, lovely. And then down here, Fury of Elun, the flash of energy now generates 6 astral power, and its damage is increased. So the few things that have changed are Celestial Alignment. You can see in blue writing has now been replaced by Incarnation Chosen of Elun, which is down here. So basically, rather than having Convoke the Spirits, we have Incarnation Chosen of Elun. It's an improved form that grants both eclipses, 10% critical strike chance as well. And then we have a new cooldown, which is only 45 seconds, Fury of Elun. Calls down a beam of pure celestial energy that follows the enemy, dealing damage over 8 seconds within its area. And it will generate 40 astral power. Another really important one is Ethereal Kindling. Casting Starfall extends the duration of active moonfires and sunfires up to 28 seconds. This is really important because in Mythic Plus we'll be doing a lot of AoE and multi-target, and dotting them up, damage over time spells, remember, dotting up all the targets of our moonfire and sunfire can take a while. Now, as you can see here, my nearby enemies have also been afflicted by it, but still you could have enemies over here, you know. You just want to make sure that you're extending it on all targets with your Starfall here. So let's go through the Mythic Plus rotation. So again, as usual, keep up your Sunfire and Moonfire on all targets possible. And then we're going to be using Fury of Elun on cooldown, which calls down this huge beam of light which follows your enemies. Then we can use our Incarnation Chosen of Elun. It's going to put us into both eclipses. And we can also use Warrior of Elun after that, where your next 3 Starfires are instant cast and generate 30% increased astral power. Because we are doing AoE and not single target, we want to use 2 Wraths. So 1 Wrath, 2 Wrath to get into a lunar eclipse. Obviously, when you've come out of your incarnation. So there we go. I'm in a lunar eclipse, meaning my Starfire, which is my AoE spell, is enhanced. And it is going to be instant because of the cooldown I used over here. Now, what we can also do, rather than using Star Surge to spend our astral power, we're using Starfall. And don't forget, it's going to extend the duration of our Moonfire and Sunfire. So Starfall, I can use on that target, and it's basically doing it in a huge area. Look, it's bringing down AoE on our target, and that's how we're spending our astral power instead. Because of the hero talents, you're going to get loads of beams and stuff coming down. It's really cool. Same way as I explained before with Star Surge, you will get Star-Lord with your Starfall as well, so make sure that you are using 3 of them in tandem as much as you can to make sure that you're maximizing the buffs on there. And that's the only real differences we're doing in Mythic Plus. Before we do finish this off, I just want to show you some utilities we have. As this is a beginner video, I'm going to let you kind of look through these yourself. I would really heavily advise you do look through all talents and spells, but I have really gone over the core stuff for you as a beginner, so it's not overwhelming. And honestly, you might have already learned enough at this point. Bark Skin is a great defensive for yourself. You can also go into bear form whenever you like, which is actually technically a defensive in itself. Dash is really good in Mythic Plus. Entangling Roots is really good. Innovate is great. You can use this on a healer to help them get some mana back. You're obviously always going to be in Moonkin form as a Balance Druid. I get this asked a lot. You can go on the auction house. If you don't like the Moonkin form, let me just show you it properly. You can get the Moonkin form gone, and you get this kind of astral visage that I'm wearing here. It's called Glyph of Stars on the auction house. And you can use that on your spell, on your Moonkin form, and you look like I do instead. Rebirth is a battle res. Renewal is a great self-heal. Stampeding Roar is a speed increase for you and your allies. Solar Beam is a massive interrupt. You can only use it once every minute, but it will actually interrupt everyone in the beam, which is technically one of the best interrupts in the game. Travel Form, you can use this a lot in dungeons and stuff. It can be very easy, very good. Typhoon will knock back enemies. Technically, that's also an interrupt because you can knock them back and interrupt their spellcasting. And Ursul's Vortex is one of my favourites at actually slowing down your enemies as well. As I said before, if you would like to get my UI, this is all on Patreon, and if you need help installing it through ElvUI, my details, profiles, Voodoo, Weak Auras, anything like that, then I can help you with that in Discord for Patreons as well. Don't forget to subscribe. I do actually do quite a lot on this channel. As you can see, I do every single spec. I've done War Within PvP guides. You can see here, Season 1, 65 videos. I do every single spec, every single season. Pre-patch guides I do as well. I do WoW Classic and Cataclysm as well. I'll be doing Mr. Pandaria if you play that. I do also run the Javi Herobrine channel. If you're also into other games, this is my Minecraft channel. Do check this one out. It's all for modded Minecraft, and I teach everyone how to play mods in there. And I do also have my new channel, Javi How To, which I've repurposed into a variety gaming guides channel. So do check out this one if you're looking for all of the latest releasing games and how to get guides on those.